And I'd like to take a moment and especially acknowledge the trustees, Brenda Rosen and Sarah Young and Rupert King, who gathered up all the art and displayed it so beautifully in this fantastic venue. And then, of course, a special thank you to all the artists who contributed tonight. So, all these beautiful trees, can we have a round of applause? All of you here have been so kind and so generous, and I'd really like to thank you deeply for that, and that you've made a place for your hearts for help. And I think, looking out at all of you, I like to think we have about 120 some guests, but if we also take into account the trees, which really have wonderful personalities, and we have about 150 guests, and I would say very, very characterful guests as well. So, but looking at those trees, I think perhaps like me, you've been struck by how much personality and individuality they have, and perhaps also how they take the environment that they've grown up in and they transform it into their individual beauty that they bring into the world, and how stunning that can be. And I think you see that really very powerfully in one image of the tree that grew up around the stone. I think you've all seen that. The way that the tree incorporates the shape of the stone and grows around it, and that adds to its character and communicates qualities to us that we can recognize, its strength and its endurance and its kind of striking beauty that really moves us. So I like to think that in a way that when we look at it therapeutically, that the stone perhaps is our conditioning or our life circumstances that we grow up in that perhaps give us different psychological complexes or negative patterns that contain a lot of energy for us. But when we work in counseling and we work therapeutically and we come to understand why we behave the way we do, we become more conscious of that, then that liberates all that energy that's caught up, and it can be transformed, just like the way the trees are transforming that energy and can come out in a more beautiful way into the world. And so that's a kind of metaphor for the work we're doing at HELP Counselling Centre. I think even for a few of you here tonight, it's a new charity. You may not have heard about it before, even if you're local. I think you may not be aware that this borough has the widest income disparities in London, so both the richest and the poorest. And about 57% of our clients are coming from the lower income bracket. So you can really know that your money is going to contribute to supporting them. So the clients who come to help, and they're coming with not only life crises and challenges, but they're also really prompted by a desire to ask questions that are important for all of us to ask. And questions like, what is the meaning of our lives? What is the purpose? What is my essential nature? What is the nature of reality? How do I bring qualities of a greater wisdom or of the divine into the world? Or how do I love, or live, or feel more deeply and more passionately? And so those are important questions for all of us. And just by asking those questions, and just by taking some time each week to consider those questions, it has a very powerful effect. And it begins to transform us. And we begin also then to transform the world around us. And bring into that world a bit like the trees, because the trees, don't forget, they give us the oxygen that we need to breathe. And that's a lovely metaphor for the well, coming into life through the breath of the tree, but also through the breath of the transformed individual. So as director of HELP Counselling Centre, that's why I'm working there, because that's a process I believe in. And I think the fact that we're here this evening together, the fact that we have all these beautiful trees and all these beautiful people, and you've contributed so generously, and the fact that HELP exists, and the clients come and their lives are changed, it's all a testimony to the beauty of that process. So I think let's give us all a round of applause just for that, please. So I think the tree thing, it didn't happen by accident. I think you can tell it's quite a meaningful thing for me. It's quite significant if you think about it in that way. And also I love the poem by Yeats, Two Trees. I know there are many beautiful poems about trees. Yeats' poems is one of my favorites. And he begins that by saying, "Beloved, gaze in thine own heart, the holy tree is growing there." And so I hope, if only for a bit this evening, perhaps you got in touch with that when you looked at those pictures and spent time in one another's company. And I hope that you feel quite good about the fact that you're helping to create a space where people can come and have that experience of getting in touch with that holy tree that's inside of them. So I really thank you for coming out on such a night, and thank you